Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Sharon Stevens. My guest is a recent graduate of the University of Missouri, St. Louis. 37-year-old Harold Crawford completed his undergraduate degree in social work, but the road getting to the degree wasn't an easy one. Crawford lived through tough times to make ends meet and left the life of crime and gang involvement about a decade ago. Now the graduate is focusing on how to move forward and use his degree to help address community violence and protect youth in the community. We began by talking about what his degree means to him. You've had quite a month so far. Congratulations on your graduation. How significant was that day to you?
The ceremony was extremely significant. I'm gonna say this: I did not attend the ceremony for certain reasons, but the overall just graduating, it was like a weight off my shoulders.
Why?
Because while I was in school, I had to study what people wanted me to study. You know, I had to read books that people wanted me to read, and it was required for my education, but I've always been a big reader and kind of a free spirit, and now that I'm not in school right now, I can take breaks and just read what it is I want to read, and I can enjoy my own reading, you know?
Right.
But it was very important for me to be able to graduate because it just symbolized me finishing something.
Okay. And you studied social work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What sparked your interest in that?
My mother, the Honorable Angela Harlena Roffel, and my father, the Honorable Harold B. Crawford Sr., but my mother especially, she is a career social worker. She was the Director of Human Services for the Forest Park Community College for a long time. And I am not originally from St. Louis. I'm from Jeff City, but when we first moved here, we were really poor, you know, and she was still trying to finish school, which she did, raising at one point in time 6 kids, you know, 7 kids living in a 2-bedroom in Columbus Square on 7th Street, and she was going to Forest Park. She started off at Forest Park, and then she ended up at SLU, and she graduated. But I saw her. We were like dirt poor, but she would still wake me up to go to like churches and pantries to do community service, and I would still see her doing stuff for other people. There were times like mentors in school that I would tell that, you know, me and my mom go and do this. I actually had a principal tell me, well, only a fool would do that because you can't even help yourself. So how are you going to help some other people?
How'd that make you feel?
I didn't know what to say. That man didn't have a job after about 10 years, but, you know, for doing something, he was touching and feeling. So that right there just I think was an example of him not knowing his boundaries or not knowing what to say. But how it made me feel, I didn't know. I kind of like, it took me aback. It made me surprised, but I've never lost that giving, the sense to give, to help people. I'll be a social justice, they can say social justice warrior all they want to. I'll be that till the day that I die because it's so fulfilling. And seeing my mom go through that, and then like seeing all the people and all the students that she's inspired throughout her life. And then she's actually like, they got a story about her in a social work book, you know. It just, she's the main motivator. I just feel like I'm carrying the torch for our family, you know. So now I started at LLC, Mercutio Moriarty.
What is that?
Mercutio Moriarty. It's my LLC. Mercutio was Romeo's best friend, and Moriarty was Sherlock Holmes' worst enemy. And when I first started, it was kind of like I was a different person when I first started it.
What is it?
It's a LLC. It's an education LLC. It's focused on entertainment and education, using media for more positive entertainment, more productive entertainment. And it really was supposed to push people to read. The entertainment that came out was supposed to put emphasis on education that a lot of people may not know about, but it was still a hip-hop influence, you know. And she was starting her LLC again, and I said, you know, well, Mom, and entrepreneurs, please listen to this. If you got somebody in your family that already has the talent and the technique to do something that you're starting, let them in. And since she already had the experience, I said, "I'll go ahead and take this LLC and start over, and we can just start like a family agency as far as social work goes." So that's in the making.
When you were growing up, you might have needed the help of a social worker yourself, given some of the trauma that you went through. Am I correct?
The gang bang, the bounty hunter, the bounty hunter gangs and stuff that
Were you in that gang?
I was in. See, let me clarify this. When I was a blood, true. I was already a graduate of high school. Now I had been in a gang before that, but it wasn't like per se Crip and Blood. It was like a group of Crips and Bloods and Gangster Disciples that was like, we called ourselves Missouri's Players and Gangsters, MPG. And even though it started like on Arco, and most of us went to, at least 1/4 of us went to Marquette. There would also be people from different schools, different ages. That was like a gang. But something happened, and I didn't have that support system. And at that time, I was hanging. And when that group broke up, I was hustling, and I was going through hard times.
Doing what? Hustling what?
I was selling drugs. I was selling drugs. So I needed a squad. And at that point in time, it was the Bloods I was hanging with. So that's what put me in there. I had to have some type of crew. So it was for money, you know. I had always been attracted to wearing red. So it just suited me, you know. And that combined with alcoholism, that comorbidity just did not work. Those clusters just was terrible. And another trauma that I think that you probably could be hinting at is I lived in Oklahoma City for a while, and I lived there during the bomb when the Timothy McVeigh bomb blew up, and it shook my school. I went to a middle school that was close to an area called North Highlands, and that was a blood territory. And keep in mind, I wasn't gang banging then, but I was around nothing but gang bangers. So that's a cluster all in itself. You know, when that bomb went off, it shook the school, it shook my body. You know, then I remember one of the officers coming in the cafeteria telling us that the federal building had blew up. And now the education that I've received in the last semester, because although my major was social work, my minor is psychology with an emphasis on trauma. Well, I had a trauma class, and I was working on a certificate for child advocacy. And I learned, basically, there were times I studied for that class and I would cry because we would talk about domestic violence, and I had witnessed to that, you know. I mean, I know what it's like to be in a household, and whenever Uncle so-and-so comes home, the kids are scared because they're wondering if he's going to beat your auntie. They're wondering if he's going to beat up he's going to beat somebody up. Mm-hmm. So that, along with the bombing and the gangbanging, just added clusters of trauma. You know, and then
did this lead to a diagnosis?
I haven't seen any doctors for it, but intelligent hypotheses. I know I was kind of traumatized from the bomb, and I learned certain things would make me tick, like certain scenarios, certain events. I would be really vigilant, hyper vigilant. Like I always gotta watch my back, like always watching the door. And then it's like, what's that word? Poly-victimization. You still find yourself in certain situations that just trigger those effects, and they add insult to your injury.
How early was your gang involvement? How old were you?
Well, let's see here. I have an older brother that's crippin', that's been crippin' forever.
What does that mean?
Community Resource and Progress. That's the original meaning for Crip, because Community United Standing Strong.
Are you saying he's still a Crip?
Yeah, he's still doing his thing.
But you're not?
No, I'm not gang banging at all anymore.
Okay.
I had to leave that alone. After November 7th of 2018, I was a keynote speaker for Aim High. And after standing in front of those kids and talking to them, I couldn't keep doing that, you know. Mm-hmm.
And how old were you when you first started with gangs?
When I was like officially with Bloods, I'd say about 19. But as far as like being affiliated with just knowing gang mentality, I don't think. Let's see here. As early as 6 or 7.
Uh-huh. Do you think that that's about the age that most people who are involved in gangs get started as early as 6 or 7?
It depends, because for some families, like in California, it can be generational. And in states like Oklahoma, certain states that are close to California, I'm 37. So I grew up around the time where they were really, when it was really, I want to say, prevalent. It was more prevalent. I mean, now it's just different, and I want to say because of the internet. And I even have networked on the internet, you know. But now people are like joining the gangs on the internet, and they're internet banging. And I'm not trying to like say that they're not real or, well, that's not real. I'm not trying to downplay it, but you know, it's just not the same intensity. But I'm not gonna say that everybody at 6 or 7 is who gets introduced to that. But as far as like, it depends on the family. Like if you have a mother and a father that were gangbangers and they had you when they were like 15, 16, and you know they both been doing their thing, then as you grow up, that's going to be the example that you see.
That's going to seem normal to you. Tell me something. It took a while. You said you're 37. It took a while for you to get to where you are today. A college graduate. You have a business. What are some of the coping skills that you used to keep you going?
Writing was definitely that. Reading was one thing, but writing helped me change the narrative. It helped me learn to articulate. And I would read dictionaries, or I would go and hang out at the library, read, and I would just keep a journal and I would just write. You know, I remember when I had a crush on this girl in high school. I'm not gonna say her name, but I had a crush on this girl in high school, and I was using adjectives to describe her. And that's when I started getting into like using words to describe things about like my junior or senior year. And then after that, I just started reading books about root words. So I would write to articulate how I felt, you see. And then the other thing that I would do, of course, was exercise. And I have a black belt. I got it from St. Louis Family Martial Arts Academy. When I left the city about 20, 21, 22, because it was just too much stuff going on. You know, it was at that point, it was murder capital. We were like really bad gun violence. And like, I'm going to say 2 of my big homies, 2 people that I really, really looked up to, may they rest in peace, they had got killed. And I was in too much trouble.
Well, you had to go through some programs to get yourself back on track. Tell us about that.
Well, I am a recovering alcoholic. My 5th year of being sober from alcohol was May 17th.
Congratulations.
And that was probably the biggest downfall. Like, I could have been way more successful in life had I not drank, because I was a drinker. And I'd say I was about 29 or 30, maybe 30, 31, I got my second DWI. And my license got suspended. So I had to take a suspended sentence class, and it's on South Grand. The place was located on South Grand. And the counselors that were there, I liked what they were doing. So I asked them, you know, what are you doing? And they told us, well, we're counselors. And when I talked to my mom about what they were doing, she said Forest Park has a degree. It's a certification in addiction studies. So I have that. I'm an addiction studies. I can help mentor people who are trying to recover. And when I got that, and that while I was in that program, I couldn't drink, so I quit drinking. And I liked how I was feeling. Although for the first 4 months, I was falling asleep all over the place. I would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then be ready to go to bed by 7 or 8 o'clock. And it was so bad that there was one time I thought I had a cavity, because my mouth was like, man, my gums were hurting so bad. And I actually went to the doctor, and the doctor said, son, there's nothing wrong with you. You just have really sensitive teeth. Use different toothpaste. And my point is that I was so used to waking up hungover, going to work early in the morning, just brushing my teeth real hard because I'd be drunk. I didn't even know that I had how sensitive my teeth were, because the alcohol would damage your nerves. You know, so the recovery aspect and getting more in tune with my body physically and mentally, and then going through those processes let me know how much I had damaged myself with that poison. So that was another process I had to go through as well.
Okay. You've got quite a story, not just a story, stories to tell, and I know that you share them with others. And you've talked about dealing with mental health trauma.
Yes, ma'am.
And tell me how you go about that, and why do you do that?
Because everybody needs to protect children. Encourage everybody to protect children. I am very passionate about that. And that's something in the Black community I think we like to talk about is mental health and physical abuse. And one thing, Dr. Joyce DeGruy wrote the book Post-Stress Traumatic Syndrome. And we really need to look at the genetics of how trauma can get passed, or the clusters of trauma, because they don't screen for trauma, and I don't know the exact statistics about like how much African Americans visit doctors offhand, but I know we don't like to go to hospitals, and with good reason. Looking at the history, we don't like to go to hospitals, but we need to do something about how healthcare. We need to do something about the trauma in African American communities and research it more, because diseases are going like cancer, diabetes, diseases pass on genetically, and nobody's getting screened because people probably can't afford to make it to the hospital. They got to go to work. So we need to really dig deeper into that and find and get more clinical help for, I'm going to say, my people, our people, period, that need it. And it's usually people of color and disenfranchised people who need this help.
Well, now you're newly degreed, and you're going out in the world into the world in a different sort of way. You have something else with you this time. So how are you going to use everything that you have that you brought with you, plus your degree, to make a difference?
Social justice. Well, Chris Savage, Big Rio exclusive, Cutthroat Entertainment. That's a music label I deal with. They were very, very, although we're all from different walks of life, they were very, very supportive of me being in school. Very supportive of me being in school. And Big Rio, also Sergeant in Arms, a Rising Sons MC Motorcycle Club. We want to give back to the community, especially with brother Nipsey Hussle, may he rest in good dean. That motivated us to like the music that we were going to bring out or have, because I have an EP called Madrigal Projects that should be coming out in July, which is just social justice type issues, but hip hop influence. We want to bring out music it's time to come out of the flashing the bottles, showing the money. It's time to start having some validity in the music. There's nothing wrong with making hip hop. There's nothing wrong with making the good music. It's just that the influence that we have can be more related to something positive. And so the music that I want to start bringing out, the videos that I want to show you, is the reality of the hood, or reality from disenfranchisement, but more empowering from a social justice perspective.
Okay. How has your faith helped you?
Oh, man. Alhamdulillah. It's Ramadan right now, so I'm feeling really, really good. I took Shahada December 15th.
You have to explain that to.
Shahada is when you bear witness that there is only one God, Allah, and you believe in the angels and the prophets and the words. And December 15, 2018, I took a Shahada. I'll tell you what, I want to kind of get into this story. That particular day, I was on my way to my dojo, and I missed the bus. The dojo is where martial artists train. I missed the bus, and I got so mad that I walked from Manchester Maplewood to South Lansdowne, because I was going to find me a mosque to have Juma in. Juma is our holy day. Juma is Friday. It's our holy day. Every able-bodied male should be at this mosque, be at your mosque on Friday. We honor Adam on that day. And I found that mosque that Saturday, and the first prayer I've ever done in the mosque was the Zuhr prayer, the noon prayer. And my life has been, I'll tell you what, there was even the Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve. I did the Israq prayer. And after that, something just told me, get up, go the opposite way where you usually go. There's a daily routine I usually go after that prayer. And I was like by St. Vincent Park on Natural Bridge. And it was Christmas Eve, keep in mind. I found this lady's purse who had got stolen. And that right there just let me know, stay in tune and stay on the right path, and he'll guide me and show me where I need to be. So just like I said in my story.
Did you get her purse back?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She got all her stuff back, and she had just lost it. Actually, somebody had broke into her car. And as I was walking, something told me to look right. And as I was walking, I was finding pieces like her ID, her EBT card. It was like laid around, like somebody had just grabbed her stuff and just threw it everywhere. But the post office on Natural Bridge that's right by like a BP, I was giving the people at the post office all her stuff. And then as I walked out, a police officer rolled up, and then, it was official then. He told me that, this lady had made a phone call that her car had got broken into. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. And 14 minutes later, it got found.
Well, now tell me, if we're looking at you, a year, maybe 2 years from now, tell us what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be like. Just tie all of your experiences together in terms of the impact that they've had on your life. You've not had it's a very untraditional
yes, ma'am. It is.
Life.
So can I say what I like to, where I think I'll be in a year or two?
Sure.
I'm still gonna be encouraging everybody to protect every child. I'm still gonna encourage everybody to protect our women, especially in this day and age, because we got people out here that just think they can tell our women what to do with themselves. And I mean, protect women, period. Protect them, because if you're protecting children, you got to be protecting women. That's just, I know I'm opinionated, but that's just how it goes right now with that
Is that
issue.
good for a social worker?
Yes, you have to. I'm just gonna say it. You can't tell a person what to do with their body. You just can't. Tupac said it the best. And since a man can't make one, he has no right to tell a woman when and where to create one. We just gonna have to take that like some men. And then I'm gonna do that. Hopefully I make my Hajj, my pilgrimage. Hopefully, inshallah, I got an album or something that's out there besides my EP. I can visit the motherland with my mama, because she's already been to Africa a couple times. We can go see the Maasai tribe that we come from. I can be more connected with my family. Hopefully we can rebuild some of these schools out here in this city, and I can make my creator happy.
Do you plan to go back to school?
Yes, that's what. Yes. Yes, I want to go back to school, grad school, and I actually want a doctorate. She said.
In what?
Social work.
Okay.
Social work and media.
How did the University of Missouri St. Louis help you? Do you give them some credit for helping you along the way?
Let me put it like this. Like my interim dean said, Dr. Sharon said that this is like medicine that you don't want to take, but you need to take it. And I was cussing and fussing the whole way through, but it could have been another institution that I was cussing and fussing all the way through too. So it was like, you got this institution that you learn from, and you got this institution that you can learn from. Which one you want to go to? So I was very blessed, very, very, very blessed. UMSL helped me a lot, because the diversity that was there, the obstacles that were there, it was a journey. It was tough. I couldn't give up. There were times, the tough ex-gangbanger was crying, having to write papers, these self-reflection papers, the statistics classes that I had to take. There were so many good teachers, though, that I had. And it was a wonderful experience. That's what I'll say.
Well, we are going to thank you very much.
Thank you.
For being here with us. Good luck to you. Just finally, do you ever have any thoughts of getting back with the gang?
Not at all. I serve one master. That's it. I can't do it. No, that's no more. None of that. No more. That's a done. Now, I'll never turn my back on my brothers. I'll never turn my back. I'm always here for them. I'll even go back there. I'll even buy an apartment and be there. But as far as me putting on a red bandana saying "What's up, blood" or "Sue Whoop" anymore, that's just a part of me that doesn't exist anymore.
He's gone.
He's gone.
That was recent University of Missouri St. Louis graduate Harold Crawford. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.